Plan B is a really enjoyable film. I was really curious to find out what would happen, as it wasn't completely obvious. Sometimes with films, from the beginning, it's clear to see where things are going to go. But not with this one, and I really enjoyed the journey. I also liked the destination, but I won't say how it resolves or anything, as I do recommend it, and I don't want to give any spoilers. This was released in 2024. It's directed by Brandon Tamburri. It's written by Tamburri and G&S Monpère, and we have a cast including Jamie Lee as Piper, Jon Heder as Evan. We also have Michael Lombardi as Cameron. And I was asked if I wanted to review this. I was sent the screener, and I read the description, and I thought this sounded really fascinating, and I was really keen to see what would happen, because it's about a woman, Piper, who is very drunk and sleeps with her, well, IMDb describes him as an awkward neighbour. This is Jon Heder's character, Evan, and she finds out that she's pregnant. So she comes up with a plan, because she doesn't want her awkward neighbour to be the father of the child. She doesn't want to have to spend time with him. So she decides to go out and try and get a date with somebody who I guess she would deem as more suitable for the baby's father. Obviously sleeping with them on the first date, or as close to the first date as possible, and then telling them that the baby is theirs. And I will say that that's disgusting. That is a horrendous attitude to have. And when I realised that's what it was about, I did worry that I wouldn't like Piper as a protagonist, and I'd therefore struggle to get behind her journey emotionally. But actually, I quite liked her. I liked her as a character. I don't agree with her actions, but I quite liked her, which I was surprised by, pleasantly surprised by. And there are a few small things I'll talk about that are maybe spoilers, not really, but I'll save them for the end with a spoiler warning just in case. Just a few specific things that I want to mention that I either liked or I was curious about. And as I said, I had no idea how this would pan out. Would she find somebody? Would she convince them they're the father of the baby? Would they find out? I had so many questions, and I really enjoyed the journey of finding out those answers. The characters are all very well written, and Evan, I have to say, Evan I really, really liked, and I don't understand. This probably says more about me, but I don't think he's awkward. Maybe slightly socially awkward, but I say this as a socially awkward person, but I don't understand why she would reject him as the father of her child. So I don't understand her motivations. I believe them. I believe that she thinks her motivations are valid, but I certainly don't agree with it, both in terms of not thinking Evan is unworthy to be somebody's father and also just not agreeing with her actions. But as I said, despite that, I still liked her as a character, and it's actually generally quite a light-hearted film, even though it's quite a serious topic, and I think they managed to make it light-hearted and enjoyable while also having certain moments that show that actually this could be a really dangerous game to play and it might not be the wisest decision. And I'll talk more about that with a tiny spoiler warning at the end. I really enjoyed it. Very well written story, great execution. The pacing is great. It's suspenseful. They don't give away too much too soon, which is something that I always really appreciate. Characters are well written. Performances are very good. Absolutely no problems. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. Plan B is a pretty brilliant film, and I'm very happy to recommend it. And I will now go into a tiny bit of detail. It's a bit of a spoiler. I'm not spoiling how it ends, but it is something that happens at some point. So this is the last thing I have to say. Bit of a spoiler. And there's one scene that made me feel nervous. And actually, I will say I didn't love the execution of one part of it. And this is going to be a big spoiler. So small spoiler, then big spoiler. The scene when Piper goes to get her sonogram and Cameron is there, and he's so excited. He's so excited to be the father. And that's when I started to feel nervous, because if he finds out he's not the father, not only will he feel betrayed, but that's going to absolutely crush him. And I was really scared to see what would happen, because he's a very likable character. And that was kind of the start of Piper maybe realizing that this wasn't a good idea, because she could see how excited Cameron was. And the bigger spoiler now, Cameron does find out that he's not the father. And I will say I didn't love that scene. She tells him when he throws her a surprise baby shower. And I guess it got too much for her. The guilt got too much for her. And she just kind of blurted it out in front of everybody that he's not the father. And obviously Evan finds out that he is. And I don't love how that part of it came about. I don't think it was as powerful as I wanted it to be. I don't think Cameron's reaction was what I expected it to be either. So I didn't love that bit, but everything else really thoroughly enjoyed. And I don't hate that bit. It just maybe wasn't what I expected. But either way, Plan B, really thoroughly enjoyed it. Very happy to recommend it.